Hey guys, Baddies Africa episode 14 review slash recap. If you're watching me on TikTok, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube. If you're watching me on YouTube, make sure you follow me on TikTok. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. So this episode started so weird. It was basically a continuation from the last one. So they still at the ninja place. I'm like, damn, y'all spent the whole last episode at the ninja place. Can we get out of here already? But anyway, Fauna's still getting congratulated for getting her baddies chained by Tavy and the rest of the new girls. And then Summer is telling Russian to shut up. Like, Russian keep running her mouth about DTB being injured and not fighting and all of that. But you're not getting in the paint yourself, so why you keep talking? I'm glad Summer told her to shut up. For once, I agreed with Summer. And Russian was talking about, oh, I'm going to get in there with y'all at the reunion. I don't even think you're going to do that. Lex didn't want Russian and Summer to keep arguing, so she was basically telling them to shut up, that they was arguing about nothing. And then they was asking Choco if she was done with Diamond or if she was going to be cool with Diamond after this point, and she said she's not done. She's still icing her eyes. Them two black eyes getting worse, Choco. They really getting visible now. And Russian talking about she get mixed vibes from them. I told y'all from the beginning when Russian tried to kiss up to Summer, Lex, and Dolly and get in front of the situation as far as the girls exposing her for what she said about looking better than them unprovoked. I said if they were smart, they wouldn't really fuck with Russian because she a weirdo. Dolly was the only one that seemed like she was actually clocking Russian, but maybe Summer is too. But for whatever reason, Lex actually really likes Russian. So then all of a sudden you hear Diamond yelling, talking about injured reserves need to go home. And Lex clocked her and was like, girl, wasn't you just claiming you was on injured reserve? But now because she got out there with Coco, she gonna say injured reserve need to go home. Like, girl, you just was saying you was injured reserve and had Ivory fight Choco for you. And DTB gonna say, yeah, and I went home. No, you didn't go home. So maybe you need to go home because you're getting on my nerves. So from here, the girls are on their way to the club, you know, group 1. And then, of course, we got group 2. So first, Russian is just basically still chatting, saying that DTB was never injured. And now people telling her she got to shut up because she in a sling and that's not fair. Just rambling and talking. Shut up. And Choco is basically still just mad that Ivory fought for DTB. So then on the other bus, Rolly was giving Fauna her congratulations for getting her baddies chain. Everybody was cheering. And Fauna was just saying, you know, I'm happy that I had some real people there that was actually happy for me because the other side of the house was grilling me and looking like they was mad I got it. And Fauna and Tavy was basically saying is real recognized real because even right after they fought each other, when Tavy got her chain, Fauna congratulated her and obviously Tavy congratulated Fauna. But Dolly and them are being haters. Then Diamond was laughing and she was like, so 2 people got baddies chains, 2 newbies, and Dolly still ain't get hers. And Tavy was like, yeah, I honestly feel like everybody gonna get a chain before she even get one. And Rolly was like, well, you know, that's if Natalie even decides to give her one because she not really feeling everything that Dolly and Summer been doing. All of that stealing and snatching people's chains, the pendants aren't cheap, and then it all falls back on Natalie and Lemmy. But from what I heard, Dolly is the next person that gets a chain. And then Rolly was basically just asking what was going on with Ivory, DTB, and Choco. And Ivory was just yelling like, she need to leave my friend alone. Enough is enough. Like I said, Ivory, you being delusional because Choco was not bothering DTB. DTB was sneaking Choco. Then back on the other bus, Lex was basically telling Choco, you know, I feel like you need to get that again with DTB because you had to fight Ivory first. And your only alliance is LCK. And LCK is not really about nothing. Like, yeah, she be trying to have your back, but she's not really no help. And she was basically saying like Choco needs some real heavy hitters behind her, like herself, Dolly, etc. So I guess she basically saying she gonna have Choco back going forward because she see that Elsie is not a helpful alliance to Choco. But this is crazy because most of Choco's problems are starting back up because she was trying to have Elsie back. And then back on the other bus, Rolly was basically saying what a lot of us have said. She feel like Lex don't agree with a lot of the stuff that Summer and Dolly do, but she don't want to not stand with them or look like she disloyal, so she just ride. But like I said, I would not have a problem with Lex riding with Summer and Dolly when it comes to in front of everybody else, as long as she was willing to check them behind closed doors. But I don't see her doing that, and that's my problem. So the girls are getting ready to go out to the club. I believe this is the last night in Joburg, and Diamond is basically saying she hope it's a good night. She hope that they could go out and not have any trouble in the clubs again. I felt like Lex looked really cute. I felt like Rolly looked really cute. Tavy, I don't know what's going on. So it's almost time for them to head out, and once again Pretty P is announcing that she's leaving. Tonight is her last night. She don't know if she's coming back. She's glad she got to know everybody. Now, we didn't get a real outro for her this episode. Like, you know how when it's the end of the season they give like an outro and they show the whole montage of everything they did this season? We didn't get that, so I'm pretty sure she is gonna come back. But I just feel like how many times they're gonna announce that Pretty P is leaving? We've been talking about Pretty P leaving for the last 4 or 5 episodes. I'm done with it. So then Ivory randomly says to Dolly, don't sneak me tonight. Dolly said, I'm not saying nothing to you. I wasn't planning on doing nothing to you. Like, stop talking to me, basically. Then Ivory was asking Dolly what made her so comfortable to put her hands on Ivory. But Dolly could be asking you the same question. What made you so comfortable to choke her like you did in the club, knowing that y'all wasn't cool? And that's what I meant when I said that Ivory used to playing with them girls on Now That's TV like Ferrari and thinking that everybody's supposed to be scared of her. Like, she in shock that Dolly put hands on her. She like, who do you think you are to put your hands on me? But you was choking her. And Dolly was basically saying to Ivory, you keep acting like you neutral and acting like you confused as to why I was offended by you choking me, as if you wasn't coaching Tavy when me and Tavy fought. Ivory basically said she still was neutral, but she was coaching Tavy because in that situation she was on Tavy's side. She felt like Dolly was wrong for snatching a chain. Long story short, Dolly still popping it, telling Ivory to eat her D, but she's still saying she not fighting and her hand is still messed up. But when her hand is better, she gonna run it with everybody. Dolly, I feel like if you gonna keep saying you injured reserve now, you just need to shut up. You talking too much to be saying you injured reserve, and talking too crazy to be saying you injured. So the girls are on their way to the club, and you could just see that Rolly is bonding with the new girls again, especially K Rican. And this is similar to what we've been seeing with Rolly for the last couple seasons on Caribbean and Midwest. She just seemed to be the OG that's getting to know the girls the most, with Scotty being a second, while Natalie is barely getting to know the girls at all. Then on the other bus, Summer was basically saying nobody gonna care that Pretty P leaving, and Dolly was like, yeah, even her friends acting like they gonna miss her, but they not. And Choco was like, 1 down, 7 more to go. And in her confessional, she basically said she don't care about Pretty P leaving because she never had a problem with Pretty P, but Pretty P was jumping in when she was fighting Ivory and DTB last week, so F her. Then Dolly talking about when her hand heals, she gonna make Baddies history. She gonna beat everybody up 1 round, 1 by 1. She gonna get everybody. I'll believe it when I see it because, you know, Dolly talk a good game, but she always injured. So how you gonna fight 6, 7, 8 people back to back? You gonna fight about 2 or 3 people at the most, and you gonna be in a fucking body bag somewhere going to the hospital like you was before. So Rican was basically saying that tonight they celebrating because Fauna got her Baddies chain, and they also need to send Pretty P off the right way. And they was asking Fauna where her chain was at. She said she not wearing her chain because people are haters and people snatching chains and stuff. Rolly was saying that that wasn't really a thing. I will say that Natalie giving the chains out this consistently wasn't really a thing until recently. So I think that's where all of the new drama is coming from. The chain snatching always was a reoccurring theme, but it wasn't this constant. So they finally get in the club. Natalie's on the mic and she's talking about thank you, Joburg, for having us. The baddies are making your city lit. Everybody all over the world is talking about Joburg now. Natalie, please. So you see all the girls are having a good time, but of course they are separated. Summer, Lex, and Dolly are off on their own while everybody else is kind of bunched up right here. Ivory said she was irritated because all 3 of these girls had smiles on their faces and she wasn't here for it. And I'm just confused because I'm like, Ivory, are you cool with Lex or not? Like... Because her and Lex be seeming like they cool with each other, but Ivory be making it clear in her confessionals that she would definitely still fight Lex if it came down to it. I don't know if Lex feels the same way, or if she's aware that Ivory still feels that way. But anyway, Ivory ends up getting on the mic talking about where's Dolly, where's Dolly. It was cringy. She was sitting there mad. It was just a mess. Because it basically made Ivory look obsessed with Dolly. Like, you talking about where's Dolly in the club, knowing that y'all not supposed to be fighting in the club. And before y'all left the house, she basically told you she wasn't on that. She's still claiming injured reserve. You told her not to sneak you. She said she wasn't. She been minding her business and staying away from you. But now you mad because her and her friends having a good time. And it's getting under your skin to the point that you getting on the mic talking about where's Dolly, where's Dolly. And then Natalie, you a weak ass CEO. Because how Ivory snatched the mic out your hand while you was performing to do that. And Ivory admitted in her confessional that she was doing that again because she was drunk. It looked like Ivory need to stop drinking because when she be drunk, she be sloppy, clearly. Like, she be all over the place. She don't be fighting well. She be looking for fights. It's just a mess. Like, I don't think she need to drink as much as she be drinking, in my personal opinion. Because she clearly can't really handle her liquor. And then DTB was saying in her confessional, you know, we are supposed to be outside just having a good time. You know, we at the club. We not supposed to be fighting. But Ivory's still on 10 and she don't care about Dolly injury. Okay, so the next day we see DTB and Ivory in the room with Pretty P. She's packing her stuff and she's actually leaving right now. We will not be seeing her again until she returns later in the season, if that's what's going to happen. DTB says she understands what Pretty P is going through because last season she had to leave early because her aunt was sick. DTB and Pretty P basically talked about how they didn't get along on Midwest and they was enemies and they fought, but now they came a long way and they became good friends. Obviously that's thanks to Ivory, so she was happy to see that. Then they were still just talking about the brawls and everything that been going on. Ivory said Dolly lying, saying she gonna fight everybody when her hand heal because she gonna fight 2 people and then she gonna be complaining about her hand hurting again. Like I said, I agree. Dolly is not fighting 8 people back to back. And then Ivory was in her confessional once again talking about Dolly ain't shit, Summer ain't shit, Lex ain't shit, and Coco ain't shit. I done ran through all of them. So again, Lex, I don't think Ivory's cool with you. Then DTB was saying that Russian injury is fake because when they was at the ninja place, she had a sling on her arm, but allegedly when they went to the club, she didn't have no sling. So they have their group hug talking about besties for life, and Pretty P heads to the airport. Meanwhile, we see all the other girls packing up and getting ready to go to the next city, which is Nairobi, Kenya. So the ladies arrived to Kenya. Cole K basically said that she hopes she could enjoy the city. She could actually be cute. She don't have to fight as much. That's her hopes. And Fauna was basically a little sad because Pretty P is gone. She said that Pretty P is one of the OGs or new Gs who always comes and checks up on her, Cole K, and K Rican. And she feel like it's a missing piece without Paula being there. Ivory was talking about she don't know if she leaving or not yet because her girlfriend Danye got arrested. From what I heard, I do believe Ivory leaves this season early and she's not gonna return. I don't know how soon she's leaving, but we on episode 14, so Ivory probably leaving in like 3 episodes or so, because you know the season probably going to end somewhere around episode 20. And DTB was basically saying, wow, Ivory and Pretty P gonna leave me by myself. And Ivory was like, you're not gonna be by yourself. You got Fauna, KK, K Rican, Tavy, etc. And they was all telling DTB she not gonna be alone. But DTB made a point. She was like, you know, me, Ivory, and Pretty P be together. Y'all 3 be together. Everybody got their cliques. So yeah, I'm gonna still have people I'm cool with, but I'm not really gonna have my actual crew. Then we got Elsie asking Lex about her fighting Cole K while they was at the ninja place, and she was basically saying, I don't understand why Cole K didn't go back up to Lex the same way she came back up to me. And Elsie was like, yeah, why she want to run it with me but not the big bad wolf? Now, to an extent, do I understand where Elsie coming from? Yes, because I said that myself last week, that I didn't really understand why Cole K stomped Choco instead of just fighting Choco one-on-one the way she fought Elsie one-on-one, because you was mad because Choco and Elsie had jumped you. But I said Cole K know that she could beat Elsie, but she can't beat Choco. So I'm sure that's probably the same reason that Cole K didn't want another round with Lex. But Elsie, I don't know why you talking, because you a punk anyway. And you literally referring to yourself as the weakest link. So it don't matter. And I love how K Rican and Cole K not hating on Fauna at all about getting the chain. You know, KK said she was really happy for her. And she said, I just hope that me and K Rican get one next. And then Tavy was asking K Rican how she felt about Lex popping on her or whatever. And K Rican was basically saying she feel like Lex is mad because she keep fighting Summer. And K Rican feel like she be winning all her fights with Summer. And then she also said she feel like Lex is mad because she be jumping in fights. And I really feel like that's the problem that Lex is having with K Rican, is that she be jumping in all the Cole K fights and Fauna fights. And sometimes they be fighting weak people like Elsie. So it's like, girl, why are you jumping in? Then Dolly ain't making no sense. She's on the bus with the girls talking about how Ivory looks stupid on the mic, talking about give me fade, give me fade. But she's saying she PC'd up. But then in her confessional, she's still popping it, talking about, oh, Ivory's pressed and I will flat iron her. How you saying that, but then at the same time you saying, yeah, I'm PC'd up, I got security. And Summer was basically saying that she felt like they needed to have a house meeting when they get to the new house. And Dolly was like, yeah, but I'm still not fighting. So why are you talking so much? And then Ivory was saying how she heard that Dolly requested security, allegedly, to walk around with her because she's injured. But Ivory says she don't care. She definitely gonna fight Dolly again before she leave. So from there, we see the new resort that the girls are staying at in Kenya. So at first, we just see Natalie, Rolly, and Scotty there. So when they walked up, Natalie was asking the lady what these drinks were, and she said that it was a mocktail, but because it was the Baddies, they added some Don Julio to it. So basically, y'all just got this alcoholic reputation. And she knew that she needed to add some liquor to your drinks, even though it's supposed to be a mocktail. So the girls finally arrive and everybody's excited. They see that they have the whole resort to themselves and they really excited. They hoping that they could actually enjoy this place that they staying at for once, but that's unlikely. So from there, Natalie tells the girls to go find their rooms. The girls seem to like their rooms. It seems like most of the girls had their own room this time. Choco body is tea. I peeped that. Choco body is very much tea. But it basically looked like Russian was roomed near Elsie and Choco. And she was smiling in their face, but then in her confessional, she gonna say, I found my room and it's in a building near a bunch of bitches I don't like. And Russian basically already told Elsie that Elsie need to keep her head on a swivel when it comes to her, and Elsie shouldn't trust her. So she basically already told that she don't like Elsie. So why are you smiling in Elsie's face? Fauna was a little sad because she was separated from K, Rican, and KK. She said that her room was downstairs and their two rooms were upstairs. But you know, she was like, my room is their room is my room, and they hugged it out. Like I said, I do like the friendship that these three are developing, and I do feel like it's genuine. And then we see Natalie on her balcony with Rolly and DTB, and there was monkeys jumping all over the place, damn near jumping on the balcony. So Natalie decided that she wasn't going to be staying there. I said, Natalie always find an excuse to not stay in the house with these girls. And she going to try to tell Scotty, oh, this is your room. Scotty said, no, it's not. So from there, a few hours passed. Now it's nighttime. Natalie's meeting up with Rolly and Marissa. Of course, Natalie is bringing out more drinks, and when Rolly tasted the drink, she said that it was strong, and she basically asked Natalie if she had spiked it. And Natalie gonna say, Rolly, don't do that, you love it. Like, Natalie is crazy. So from there, Natalie has all the rest of the girls come out, and she's basically saying, oh, let's play Baddie Shot O'Clock, which y'all know is her card game. So basically, you'll pick up a card, it'll ask you something, and you'll either have to take a shot or not. Or it'll just be something messy that could cause drama. So when Summer came down, she tried to come over and hug Natalie, and Natalie was basically saying she gotta watch Summer now because Scotty's sitting next to her. And last time Natalie and Scotty was sitting next to each other in Hawaii, Summer basically hugged Natalie just as a way for her to sneak Scotty. So they told Summer to go the other way, and then when Tavy came out, she basically said, well, I see all the real girls on one side and I see all the ops on the other side, so I know where to go. So the house is very clearly divided at this point. We got one side, which is Ivory, DTB, K-Reek and Fauna, Cole K and Tavy, and Scotty, and then also Pretty P, but she's not there right now. And then the other side, which is Lex, Dolly, Summer, Elsie, Choco, and Russian. So I definitely think that Natalie had put these cards in order for specific questions to be asked to cause drama. Because why was the first question, which Rolly picked up, basically saying, have you ever slept with one of your friends' baby dads before or after they was with them? So Summer immediately pointed to Cole K and was like, are you and Marissa friends? Because Marissa's sleeping with your baby daddy right now. KK basically says she not worried about what her baby daddy doing, so nobody else need to be worried about what he doing. And she was like, Summer, where your baby dad at? Remember what Anna said last season? She said Summer baby father was in a wheelchair. So Russian picks up the next card, and it basically says that she needs to challenge two people to have a 30-second roast battle. It got to be one person from each side. So she tried to choose Summer and KK, but the other side was basically like, no, we don't want KK to do it. We want K Rican to do it. And Ivory was like, those are the two girls with the craziest mouths who just love to talk. And they really both don't got hands like that, but they got lethal mouths, and they just both are very loud, and they could argue for days. And it was funny because Summer actually nominated herself, but K Rican tore Summer up. She had Summer quiet a few times, and we never see Summer quiet. I mean, Summer couldn't really even get a word in, and K Rican talk so fast, she don't be stumbling over her words. I mean, she be getting them words out. So Rolly gets to read in the next card, and it basically said to point out your least favorite baddie and tell them why. And I think Rolly was supposed to be answering it herself, but Dolly butted in and decided to let us know that Cole K is her least favorite baddie. And Cole K's response was basically, where your chain at? Where your chain at? Where your chain at? And then Rolly was like, I think everybody expected me to say Russian is my least favorite baddie, but it's actually Elsie. And Russian was like, oh, I'm surprised. I thought you was going to say me. And we all been seeing Russian trying to talk to Rolly consistently throughout these last couple of episodes, asking Rolly do the wig stink and all that other weird shit. But then Russian going to get in her confessional and say, oh, even though Rolly didn't say I'm her least favorite baddie, she's still my least favorite baddie because she's fake. So why you been trying to be in Rolly's face for the last couple of episodes and get back on her good side? But anyway, Rolly was basically saying the reason that she says Elsie is because Elsie flip-flopped too much for her. I feel like Elsie and Russian one and the same. They both fake, they both weak, and I feel like she just should have said they both her least favorite baddies together. And Russian literally proved Rolly wrong right in this moment, because Rolly was giving Russian credit and basically saying that Russian will let somebody know if she don't like them and she don't mess with them, but Elsie's very questionable. But in that moment, Russian is still trying to smile in Rolly's face and act like she like Rolly and trying to get on Rolly's good side, but then gonna pop that shit in the confessional, which makes Russian just as questionable and flip-floppy as Elsie. So then Natalie asked Big Lex who is her least favorite baddie and why. And Lex said K-Rican, KK, Fauna, Scotty, and Tavy. So Scotty immediately starts getting mad. She's like, you love saying my name. Why are you mentioning me with a pack of girls? You know I stand by myself. And when she was asked why she don't like them, she basically said that K-Rican and KK talk too much. Fauna don't talk enough. Scotty talking more than she ever heard Scotty talk. And she think that's because Scotty got people behind her. And Tavy talk too much. And Scotty basically stood up and was like, the only reason you hear me talking is because you keep bringing my name up. Now, like I said, I see both sides because, yes, Lex did bring Scotty's name up randomly that day when she was basically saying, like, Natalie called Scotty ugly, but Scotty's still cool with Natalie. So I see Scotty point there. But when they was at the Ninja place, DTB was actually the person who brought Scotty's name up. And Lex was just responding. And even right now, Lex bringing Scotty's name up is because she was asked a question and that's her answer. And it's so funny because Scotty and Lex both saying in their confessionals like, oh, Lex just don't like me for whatever reason. And Lex was in her confessional saying, oh, Scotty only saying I'm her least favorite baddie because she's my least favorite baddie. But Scotty don't even know why she don't like me. Neither one of y'all know why y'all don't like each other at this point. Scotty said that her two least favorite baddies right now are Dolly and Lex. Dolly told Scotty to stop clout chasing. She was like, you have no reason not to like me. And Scotty was like, didn't you say when your hand healed you want to run it with all 8 of us? That 8 included Scotty. So she was like, you said you wanted to run it with me. And Dolly was like, oh, I wasn't even counting you. I forgot you was even over there. You're so forgettable. And then Scotty told Big Lex what we all have been saying as an audience. She linked up with the wrong friends. But I do respect Lex's loyalty because like I told y'all, I feel like at this point she in too deep. Those are her friends, whether we like it or not, or we feel like she chose the wrong friends. Those are her friends, and she's being loyal to her friends. I don't like them. I wish she wasn't friends with them because it makes me not like her as much. But I do respect the loyalty she got for them. And she basically told Scotty, I don't give a fuck how y'all feel. Like, these are my friends, and I'm with my friends. So at this point, Lex and Scotty are both standing up and walking to the center. And Lex is in her confessional basically saying, as much as Scotty says she's not a fighter, she be popping it too much. But then Summer starts walking up, mouthing off, and she ends up fighting KK. And like I told y'all, it actually looked like KK was kind of whooping Summer this time. I hope she do. So next week, Elsie going to tell Rolly to kiss her ass. Rolly going to smack the shit out of Elsie. Lex and Scotty going to fight. Scotty was shocking me. It kind of looked like she was doing okay. I hope Scotty does good. I really do. It's them kicks. Them kicks are working for Scotty. DTB and Choco fight again. And then Tavy and Lex fight again. And it looked like this is going to be that time that Lex tears Tavy like we saw in the preview. And Tavy face going to be messed up real bad after. Which is crazy. That means that Scotty did better in her fight with Lex than Tavy did. I don't know. We're going to have to see the episode. Anyway, for Baddies Africa episode 14, my most valuable OGs are Rolly and Scotty. My least valuable OG is Natalie. My most valuable new G, which I said barely, is Big Lex, because I didn't have a most valuable new G at first. I was just going to say none, but I've never done that before, and I want to try to keep some consistency with that. So we'll put Lex there, but like I said, she barely made it. Least valuable new G, Dolly. Least valuable newbies, Russian, Marissa, and Elsie. And most valuable newbies, K-Rican and Cold Killer. Okay, so that's my Baddies Africa episode 14 review/recap. If you're watching me on TikTok, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube. If you're watching me on YouTube, make sure you follow me on TikTok. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all later. Bye.